I guess we're gonna have to do a follow-up on this video, because when I told you guys that the only exercise that I do for my biceps is a preacher curl machine and a hammer curl variation, people were very concerned. And that's mainly because they didn't understand the conversation. So let's break it down. The shoulder extended incline dumbbell curl, which is the exercise I said you didn't need to do, is not a lengthened position movement. I said that people told me I needed to do it for lengthened position, not that it is one. Some relatively smart people made comments like this. POV, you'll read this in 9 months when there's better research and incorporate lengthened position again, stretch always wins. To which I responded, we're talking about the incline dumbbell curl. And if you took a look at the infographic, the incline dumbbell curl is not considered a lengthened position movement by Chris Beardsley. The preacher curl is. Why? Simply put, gravity. In an incline dumbbell curl, when your bicep is at its most lengthened, it's not being challenged because the dumbbell is acting downward. It becomes more and more challenged as the bicep flexes, where the free weight preacher curl has the majority of its challenge in the lower third of the motion. Even though it's not fully lengthened, the long head still gets a great challenge at an almost fully lengthened position rather than a bad challenge in its full length. You can view it this way, it's like having a 100% challenge at 90% length rather than having a 20% challenge at full length, which is what you see with the incline bench curl. Then people brought up a Bayesian curl. Problem is the Bayesian curl suffers from a lot of the same things. And if you try to combat this issue, then you run into another one, and that issue is stability. Once you start to load this movement relatively heavily, the cable just starts pulling against your shoulder. The last thing you want when going for targeted tissue growth is to have to stabilize with some other muscle groups in order to try and make it happen. And that's what happens to the shoulder in this movement, which is why you see the actual peak resistance happening in the middle there and not at the lengthened position, even for other creators. This essentially mimics an incline dumbbell curl, with peak tension being found in the middle of the movement and very, very little tension being found at the fully lengthened position of this movement. But it is a little bit better than the dumbbell curl, so maybe a 40% challenge at 100% length. So if you do feel like you need to incorporate a curl that has you working at 100% length, I don't suggest the Bayesian. Instead, I would suggest something like a modified machine curl. The elbow pads will give you much better stability at the shoulder, and the machine profile will give you much better tension at length. Or you can just do what I do, which is take a small hit on length in order to absolutely murder yourself on a perfectly constructed machine. And if you just don't want to think too hard, which is a common theme these days, you can simply progressively overload any curl you like and you're going to experience growth over time. This is just my preferred way to make that happen. TNF out.